The kind where one careless move can undo months of work. I took a slow breath before touching anything. Final assembly isn't about speed. It's about respect for the process, for the vision, and for the quiet promise made at the beginning. Finish this the right way. The first task was alignment. Every component had to sit exactly where it belonged, not a millimeter off. I tightened bolts gradually, alternating sides, listening for the subtle changes in resistance that told me when metal met metal, the way it was meant to. Torque settings mattered now. Guesswork was forbidden. Each click of the wrench was deliberate, final. As the structure came together, it stopped looking like a collection of parts and started looking like something not finished yet but alive. I stepped back more than once, wiping my hands, just to see it as a whole. From a distance, it already hinted at what it would become. Up close, it still whispered its flaws. Detailing came next. This is where projects are won or lost. I cleaned every surface twice, once to remove the obvious grime, and again to catch what the eye misses. But the camera never does fingerprints. Dust in corners, faint streaks left by impatience. I polished edges until they reflected light cleanly. I adjusted gaps until they felt intentional, not accidental. Then came the small touches, the things no one notices unless they're missing. A fastener rotated so its markings lined up perfectly. A cable routed just a little tighter so it followed a clean line instead of a lazy curve. A subtle contrast added where the eye needed a place to rest. Hours disappeared. The radio played low, then stopped. I didn't notice. I was deep in that rare focus where time dissolves and only the work exists. By the time I finished, my hands were sore and my back complained when I straightened up. I didn't care. I knew the moment was close. The lights went off one by one until the garage fell into darkness. Then I reset them carefully, intentionally. One overhead light, two side lights. A soft backlight, aimed low. This wasn't just illumination. It was staging. The reveal deserved drama. I cleaned the floor, swept twice. Even the ground had to respect what was about to happen. When everything was ready, I paused at the door. That pause mattered. It asked the last moment before judgment, before you see whether the vision in your head survived contact with reality. I stepped inside and flipped the switch. Light spilled across the space, slow and cinematic, catching edges, tracing lines, revealing depth. Shadows pulled away like curtains, and there, it was complete. For a second, I didn't move. The final assembly stood exactly as I'd imagined it months ago, back when it existed only as sketches and stubborn hope. Strong lines, balanced proportions, every detail intentional. Not flashy, not loud, confident. I walked around it slowly, like a camera on a dolly shot. Left side first, then the front, then the right. I crouched to see it from a low angle, the way an audience would. I stepped back to see the silhouette. No surprises, no regrets. The imperfections were still there, of course. They always are. But now they felt honest. Earned. Proof of human hands. Not failure. I reached out and touched it, not to adjust, not to fix, just to acknowledge it. The surface was cool, solid, real. The cinematic moment wasn't about applause or validation. It was quieter than that. It was the realization that the work was done and done well, that the idea survived the long nights, the wrong turns, the moments of doubt when quitting felt easier than continuing. I set up the camera. The first shot was wide, then a slow push-in. A close-up of the details I'd obsessed over. Texturas, the parts no one would appreciate, unless they cared as much as I did. I let the camera linger. Let it breathe. When I finally pressed stop, I didn't rush to review the footage. Some moments don't need immediate confirmation. You feel them first. I shut the lights down again, one by one, leaving only a soft glow behind it. Tomorrow, others would see it. Tomorrow, opinions would arrive. Praise, criticism, noise. But tonight was mine. I closed the garage door and stood there for a second longer, listening to the echo fade. The project was finished. Not because there was nothing left to change, but because it finally said what it needed to say. And in that silence, the reveal felt complete.